कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Southern Division, Sthāyi Bhav, the fifth wave. Yesterday we further discussed the astonishing effect or the power of Rati, that it is alaukika. And even though there is deep suffering one is experiencing, but there is intense bliss. So we saw that, if you remember yesterday. And then how from Rati, Rasa, because Rati is Sthāyi Bhav, and the combination of Vibhav, Anubhav, Satviki Bhav, Sanchari Bhav together produce Shantaras, Dasiras, Sakyaras, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. And similarly, there is Hasyaras, Adbhutaras, Veeraras, Karunaras, Raudraras, Bhayanakaras, and Vibhatsaras. And for each of them, there is a color, Shweta, Chitra, Aruna, Shona, Shama, and then Pandara, Pingala, Gaura, Dhumra, Rakta, Kala, and Neela. And there are deities, Kapila and all. And then we also saw yesterday that there are 5 states in the Bhakti Ras: Purti, Vikas, Vistar, Vikshep, and Shobha. And this is like, how the reacts in the mind in 5 different ways. Purti is fulfillment, satisfaction of the heart. And then opening is there. There is Dasakya and Vatsalya Madhurya and Hasiras. There is cheerfulness or opening of the heart. And then there is the expansion of the heart, Vistar. In the Veer and the Adbhutras, and there is Vikshep, distraction in Karuna and Raudra. The heart becomes distracted. And then there is disturbance because of Bhayanak and Vibhatsaras in the heart. The heart becomes disturbed. The heart becoming disturbed in the material conditions is also there, but that is because of the material emotions. The heart becoming distracted because of Maya distracting us. But these distractions or disturbances are all completely spiritual. So we saw that yesterday also. And then we saw the blissful nature of rasa, that it is akhanda, pure happiness, and it is incomparable taste. Aswada anuttama. No, we have not seen this actually. Yeah, we have just seen this. We just started with the blissful nature of rasa. So this is the next verse which we are going to discuss, and this has to be understood. So this is the last theme, the blissful nature of rasa. So I'll just add a slide for this. Yes, here. So these are the three topics, which are the last topics which will be discussed by Rupa Goswami. One is the blissful nature of rasa and the disqualification for rasa, and what is the difference between rasa and bhava. Okay. So this is a small subtopic which will complete the discussion. Though apya, all the bhakti rasas, Ishan, are the embodiment of pure happiness, akhanda sukha rupatve asti kvachit. Among the rasas, raseshu ko api. Kaha api becomes ko api. That is because of the sandhi. There is sometimes kvachit a special, vishesha, deep, gahana, incomparable taste, aswada anuttama. There is sometimes deep, comparable taste. Then pratiyamana apyagyer gramyer sapadi dukkavat karunadya rasa pragyah praudananda mata. Though the completely ignorant people, apyagrame, the ignorant are called as gramya. Those with mistaken knowledge, agir, they don't have knowledge, think immediately, prati yamanaha, that rasa such as karunadya rasa, are full of grief, sapadi dukkhavat. Those persons with knowledge of rasa say that pragye mata, these rasas are full of profound bliss, praudanandamaya. So the ignorant and who are called as the gramya and those who have mistaken knowledge, that is the agya, they think that karuna and all these rasas are filled with grief. But actually, those who are in knowledge of rasa, prage, they know that it is filled with profound bliss. So this is a very interesting commentary, and please hear this very carefully. There are five types of people to consider. So although Rupa Goswami in his verse has mentioned the Gramya, the Agya, and the Pragya, but Jiva Goswami in his commentary mentions there are five type of people. Those who experience rasa, bhava bhakta, bhavya bhakta, bhavya bhakta. Those who experience the stage of bhava, bhavaka bhakta, bhavaka bhakta it should be. Oh, bhavaka bhaka. It's not bhakta bhaka. I don't know what is the reason for this. We have to go into the derivatives of Sanskrit, which I am also not familiar of this word. Bhaka. Why it is bhaka or is it bhakta? Let me see in the further. No, it is bhaktas only. There is some type typing error. Okay. So please hear this carefully and try to understand. Those who experience rasa, that means bhavya bhaktas, these are actually situated in rasa. And those who experience the stage of bhava, they're experiencing the stage of bhava, but they're still not entered into the stage of rasa. Please remember, there is a difference, subtle difference. Those who understand about rasa, pragya, intellectually, and those who are mistaken about rasa, agya, and those who know nothing about rasa, they are gramya. So among these five categories, where should we actually, considering that we are not bhava bhaktas who are tasting rasa, or nor, in the stage of bhava, uh, stages of asakti and ruchi, uh, at least where we should fall in, which category we should fall in? Anyone? Which category we should fall in? Anyone would like to comment? Sudhanshu Prabhuji.
Oh, Karja.
Yes, at least we should have the knowledge of rasa. And that's why Rupa Goswami has given us Bhakti Rasa Amrit Sindhu. It is the third category, not fourth. I think, yes, Bir Krish Prabhuji, you have to say something more?
No, bro, same thing, Pragya.
Yeah. We have to have Rasagya. We have to become Rasagya so that we can relish the Bhagavatam. At least an intellectual understanding of rasa should be there. So that will motivate us to practice devotion. Some persons have the following worry. Bliss in rasa can be perceived in separation only to the extent that the rasa has already been fixed in a person. So this is some people's worry. When karuna, bhayanak, and vibhatsaras function by themselves, happiness cannot be perceived at all. So that's what is their understanding. Thus, for the devotees who are assistant in the Lord pastimes, bhavya bhaktas. So here, again, it is made a little clear that those who experience rasa, that is, they are called as the bhavya bhaktas. Actually, these devotees are assistants in the Lord pastimes. That means they are actually participating in Krishna's pastimes. And in them, rasa is fixed. It is fixed. And the devotees on the stage of bhava, they are not actually participating in the Lord's pastimes, but they have attained and they are relishing that. But it's quite different. Only when he attains, he leaves this world and enters into Krishna Lila, then he can directly experience in the Lord's pastimes. So these are the bhavya bhaktas in whom rasa is fixed. Grief is always dependent upon that rasa whose very nature is bliss. So this shok and all, they are all dependent on rasa, and the rasa's nature is very nature is bliss. For instance, at the time of karana rasa or lamentation, sorrow is experienced because of separation from the Lord by obstacles to their hope of attaining the Lord. There is a feeling of sorrow in bhayanak ras when one is afflicted by fear of obstacles of one's aspirations to meet him. So these all the eternal associates of the Lord are experiencing this. Karuna ras, bhayanak ras. There's a feeling of sorrow in Bhivatsaras when experienced the most charming Krishna is obstructed by disgusting objects. However, for other devotees, those aspiring for rasa, these rasas of lamentation, fear, and disgust can only be distasteful. So, for those who are not, oh, what happened? Why is it happening like this? Okay. Yeah, here is a very important point which is to be marked. So the point here is that the other devotees, those aspiring for rasa, these rasas of lamentation, fear, and disgust, of lamentation also we should include lamentation. All these, can be distasteful, but not for those who are participating in Krishna's pastimes. So that is the point being made. This verse answers the doubt. The ignorant are those who, though knowledgeable of other scriptures, are not conversant with the scriptures dealing with rasa. These are the ignorant here. Those who are not able to understand the conclusion that is understood by the devotees whose hearts are inundated with rasa. They are not able to understand. Those who cannot distinguish, those who cannot be distinguished from animals are called gramya. So these are the gramya. They are like animals. These two types of people immediately conclude by superficial inflection, sapadi, that the rasas give sorrow. This is a superficial understanding. However, the rasas of karuna, bhayanak, and vibhatsa, which are relished by both the bhavya and the bhavaka devotees, are considered to be full of bliss by those knowledgeable of the conclusion of the scriptures, pragya. dealing with rasa, even though those persons cannot directly taste them. So the pragya cannot taste them directly, but they have the clear understanding. They have the clear understanding that it is relished both by bhavya and bhavaka. Okay, so that is a very brilliant explanation given by Vishnu Chagatakar. Then alaukika sukam. Rasa is what? Alaukika. Alaukika vibhavatvam nityebhyo ratileelaya sad uktya cha sukam tebhya swat suvyaktam iti sthiti. It is well established by the nose of rasa that sad uktya, by the speeches of the devotees, syat suvyaktam, and by the nature of rati itself, iti sthiti, karuna, bhayanaka, mibhatsa will produce happiness. Cha sukam tebhya. Since those rasas have the nature of manifesting vibhava, Krishna, and other elements, vibhavatvam nita ebhyo, which produce extraordinary, alaukika, astonishing bliss. So it is now further Rupa Goswami is clarifying that this rasa of Bibhatsya, Bhayanaka, and Karuna, those who are the knowers of rasa, and they know the rasa sthiti, they are the devotees, speeches of these devotees will produce happiness. And because these rasas manifest vibhava and other elements, vibhava and other elements refer to vibhava, anubhav, satviki bhav, sanchari bhav, and they produce astonishing bliss, alaukiki rati. They produce. Okay, so let's hear the commentary of Jiva Goswami on this. Having condemned the ignorant and the animalistic people, the ignorant as the agya and the animalistic are the gramya, the author now shows the reason for the conclusion of the knowers of rasa, pragya, concerning the production of rasa. So now the reason for the conclusion of the knowers of rasa, pragya, who know about rasa, he is now gives the reason. Tebya, referring to the three rasas, is in the plural, but actually means each one individually will produce happiness in its own way. So tebya is, plural, bahuvachan, but each one of them refers to karuna, bhayanak, vibhatsya. Each one of them will produce happiness. Karuna Ras becomes astounding in separation from Krishna, in which there are worries about danger to Krishna, as in the following example already given in the text. My heart did not become shattered on seeing Krishna, dearer than 1,000 lives bound up by Kaliya. How hard my heart is. So this is, Karuna Ras in separation from Krishna. In separation from the Lord, the associates of the Lord experience sorrow filled with worries about danger to Krishna, superimposed upon and arising from the knowledge of separation. Though this condition exists, there is also an action of Rati Leelaya, whose very nature is highest bliss. Because it is produced from Rati, and these emotions, please remember, are all spiritual emotions. Whereas the same material emotions in the material world, uh, you know, cause stress, anxiety, depression, all these. Puchri ka Lota Baba is there, and he's waiting for Krishna, and he's not had anything, but still he's growing fatter. Whereas when the lover and beloved are separated in this world, and that separation makes them very thin and lean, because of stress, anxiety, depression, heartbreak. For the associates of the Lord, Bhavya Bhaktas, those who are praised in poetic works, their rati is filled with hope arising from the possibility of meeting the Lord again as previously, and from faith in hundreds of statements of the omniscient Lord. So this is for the Bhavya Bhaktas. For the aspiring devotees, Bhavaka Bhaktas, there are statements by devotee speakers, Sad Ukta. Statements filled with auspiciousness, fully describing the befitting original condition of union with the Lord. So these are in Krishna Leela in one sense, and they will meet Krishna, yeah, when Krishna comes back from the forest, like that. But you know, even at the bhava, भिद्यन्ते हृदय ग्रंथि छिन्दन्ते सर्व संशया क्षीयन्ते चाश्च कर्माणि दृष्ट्वा एव आत्मनीश्वर. So all the hridaya granthi, that means a prarabdha and the prarabdha is destroyed. The karma termination comes to an end fully, atyantiki. And chindante sarva samshaya means, although he is so elevated, the bhavaka bhakta is very, very elevated because he is evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavad tattva vijnana mukta sangasya jayate. He is in that state, but still he has doubts whether I'll attain the Lord. And he goes to his spiritual master. And the spiritual master understands these emotions, what he's experiencing, are in relation to Krishna. So he assures him, Sad Ukta, which are filled with oscillations, fully describing the befitting original condition of union with the Lord. Yes, you will attain that. So that is for the Bhavaka Bhaktas. For the accomplished devotees by the nature of Rati filled with hope, and for the aspiring devotees by statements of other devotees about the Lord, happiness will manifest in Karuna Ras, whose very nature is to manifest astonishing Vibhav and other elements. This is the definition of Rasa city known by the knowers of Rasa. Similarly, in Bhayanak Ras, happiness is produced for the Bhava Bhaktas by the action of Rati, which is filled with a certain hope that the Lord will be saved from danger, and for the Bhavaka Bhaktas by the reassuring words of the devotees. So, there's a certain hope that the Lord will be saved from danger. Mother Yashoda is always concerned, Krishna going to the forest. But for the Bhavaka Bhaktas, it is the reassuring words of the devotee. Even in Bibhatsa Rasa, there will be happiness for the Bhava Bhaktas by Rati's action, which produces a manifestation of Krishna to crush the disgusting objects which are manifested. And there will be happiness in Bibhatsa Rasa for the Bhavaka Bhaktas by reassuring statements about the final outcome. So there can be some obstacles for the Bhavaka Bhaktas, like some crisis might come in his life, and that is becoming his obstacle in his bhajan. And whether I'll attain this Lord because of this obstacle which has come, some crisis which has come, but there are reassuring statements of the Lord of the pure devotees. Okay. Now, the next pramana he gives. Tatha cha natyado. Tatha cha natya. Karunadavapi rase jayate yad param sukam suchetasam anubhava pramanam tatra kevalam. This is confirmed by the statements of Natya Shastra. The absolute proof, pramanam tatra kevalam, that karuna and other negative rasas, karuna adava api rase, produce happiness, jayate yat param sukam, is the experience of the soft-hearted devotees. Anubhava suchetasam. This verse is added from the scripture to counter the objections that the above statements are only the opinion of the author. So it's not just the opinion of the author Rupa Goswami. There is Natya Shastra also say the same. Sarvatra karunakhyasya rasasyevopa padanat bhavet ramayanadinam anyata dukkha hetuta. If Karunaras did not give rise to happiness, then Anyata Ramayanadinam would be the cause of grief for the Bhavaka Bhaktas. Dukkha hetuta bhavet. Since that and other works reveal Karunaras throughout. Sarvatra Karunakhyas. So throughout the Ramayana, there is Karunaras which is being revealed. And I was giving the example of this South Indian Brahmana who was, not able to cook meal, although he had invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home. How can I cook? And he was filled with this Karuna Ras, Mother Sita has been abducted by Lord Ram, Ravana. But actually in that grief, he was experiencing happiness. Otherwise, why would he, relish the Ramayana. Here is the author's opinion is here the author's opinion is stated by supposing the opposite condition. Suppose it gave grief, then why would devotees relish repeatedly the Ramayana? Because of dealing with Upapadanath, Karuna Ras in many places of each volume of the work, Sarvatra, it would be the cause of distress for aspiring devotees, Bhavaka Bhaktas. Now he gives another example. Tathatve Ramapadabja Prema Kallola Pritya Ramayanam Nityam Hanuman Shunuyat Katam. If Ramayana is the cause of grief, Tatatve, why should Hanuman? Hanumam Katam, who is an ocean filled with the waves of Lord Ram's feet. Rama Padabja Prema Kalola Varadi, continually here, Nityam Shrunayat. Ramayana with pleasure, Ramayanam Pritya. So if it was the cause of grief, then Hanuman, why would we continuously keep on hearing Ramayana? In this verse, the author proves that there must be present a primary ras in the Bhavaka Bhaktas by showing the impossibility of its absence. If it were absent, then there would only be grief. There would be only grief. If it is the cause of grief, tatatve, why should Hanuman constantly hear the Ramayana with pleasure? So that's the point being made. That's the point. I hope it is clear to all of you. I hope it is clear. Okay. So Prabhupada paraphrases the same thing here. An apparently pitiable condition in devotional service may appear distressing to an inexperienced student, but the feeling of the devotee in this pitiable condition is considered to be ecstatic by expert devotees. There is one instance in Srila Prabhupada's pastime. Srila Prabhupada was deeply absorbed in deep contemplation, and the devotees could not understand Prabhupada's state, and they thought that he is probably feeling very, very miserable. He's experiencing distress. That's what they thought. And externally, it looked like that, but internally, Prabhupada was experiencing deep ecstatic bliss. And they asked Prabhupada, and Prabhupada had to confirm, Prabhupada, are you in distress? Prabhupada, are you in distress? Because externally, they were not so rasagya still. So they were trying to ask this, and then Prabhupada had to confide them just so that they don't have this lingering doubts in their mind and commit an offense to a Mahabhagavat. So, it's completely ecstatic. For example, the subject matter of Ramayana is sometimes considered pitiable and distressing to the heart, but actually that is not the fact. That Ramayana narrates how Lord Ram was summoned to the forest by his father just when he was going to be enthroned. After Lord Dimachar Maharaj Dasharatha had his father died, in the forest his wife Sita Devi was kidnapped by Ravana, and there was a great war. When Sita Devi was found, finally delivered from the clutches of Ravana, whose whole family and kingdom, the Ravana himself was vanquished. When Sita Devi came home, she was tried by fire, Agni Pariksha, and after some days, she was again banished to the forest. All these subjects in the Ramayana seem very pitiable, and they may appear very distressing to the reciter, but actually they are not. Otherwise, why would Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Chamachandra, read daily about the activities of Lord Chamachandra I described in the Ramayana itself? The fact is that any of the above mentioned 12 transcendental humors in devotion, everything is transcendentally pleasing. Prabhupada doesn't go in the technicalities of the Bhavya Bhaktas and the Bhavaka Bhaktas. Prabhupada doesn't deal that. Okay. Apicha. Sanchari syat samano va Krishnaratya suridrati adhika pushyamana chet bhavalasa rati. If the rati of the associates of Radha directed to Radha, Suridrati, is equal or less, samano va, then their rati directed to Krishna ratya, the rati directed to Radha is called Sanchari rati, Sanchari syat. Nourishing the rati towards Krishna If the rati of Radha's associates directed to Radha is greater than that directed to Krishna, Adhika, and is constantly increasing, Pushyamana Chet, though it is still a Sanchari Bhav, it is called Bhavalasa Rati. So here there is some technical explanation, uh, and let's try to see the commentary and then understand this. A picture indicates that the chapter is finished, but now some additional information will be given. Some additional, now the chapter is discussed and completed, but some additional information Rupa Goswami gave. The meaning of the verse is as follows. Surad Rati, Rati directed to one's friend, indicates, for instance, the Rati of principal associates of Radha, such as Lalita, who have a similar emotional sentiments as Radha, directed to that particular devotee who is the shelter of one's cherished rasa with Krishna, in this case, Radha. If that Rati directed to Radha or any or another ideal devotee is equal or less than the Rati directed to Krishna. See, if it is equal to the Rati directed to Krishna, or if it is less than it is directed to Krishna, that Rati directed to Radha is called Sanchari Bhav, assistant of the Rati directed to Krishna. So, first you have to understand that this is quite a very subtle and deep aspects of rasa. Some of the associates of Radharani, here the example is given of Lalita, their attraction towards Radharani is more, and Radharani has complete attraction for Krishna, but their attraction for Radharani is more, and it can be also equal. They can have equal attraction to Radharani and equal attraction to Krishna. So there is that condition that if the Rati directed to Radha or another ideal devotee is equal, it is equal or less than their Rati directed to Krishna. It can be equal or less than that Rati directed to Krishna. That Rati directed to Radha is called as Sanchari Bhav, assistant to the Rati directed to. So that Rati itself is called as Sanchari Bhav. Now I'll give another example for us in our International Society for Krishna Consciousness. How do we understand? Srila Prabhupada is our Sampradaya Acharya, and he is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all ISKCON devotees now in the future also. So we have natural attraction for Srila Prabhupada being our Sampradaya Acharya. And the spiritual masters coming after Srila Prabhupada, who are carrying forward the Guru Shishya Parampara, they are also representatives of Srila Prabhupada and the entire Guru Shishya Parampara way back up to Krishna. Now, as ISKCON devotees, we will have attraction to our spiritual master. And we will also have to have that attraction towards Srila Prabhupada. Now, there are some devotees who have more attraction to Prabhupada and a little less attraction to their spiritual master. There can be some devotees who have more attraction to their spiritual master, and also they have attraction towards Prabhupada, but it might be equal or it might be a little less or more, whatever it is. So here there is one condition, Rati directed towards Radha or another devotee is equal or less. If it is either equal or less, it is called as Sanchari Bhav. And then if the Rati directed to Radha is greater than the person's Rati directed to Krishna, constantly increasing with affection, Pushyamana, it is called Bhavalasa to indicate a special nature, though that Rati directed to Radha is still a Sanchari Bhav. So that Rati which is directed to Radha is still Sanchari Bhav, but still it is called as Bhavalasa. Because it is greater. That Rati directed to Radha is greater than the person's Rati directed to Krishna. That means that devotee has more Rati towards Radharani compared to, and the rati towards Krishna. I hope you are able to clearly understand this. This statement has been written here as it is remembered at this point, though it should be included at the end of the topic of Sanchari Bhavs or Vabhichari Bhavs, since it belongs to the same topic. So why, this Sanchari Bhav discussion is included here? It should be here, but it has been, at this point, it was required for us to be understood. So that's why Rupa Goswami is mentioning this. Okay. Now, persons not qualified for understanding rasa, the disqualification for rasa. Falgu vairagya nirdagda soksha janascha haituka mimamsaka visheshena bhakta aswada bahirmukha. Those whose bhakti has been completely burned up by false renunciation. Falgu vairagya nirdagda. Nirdagda means burned up. Davagni. Da means the fire. Those who are dried up jnanis, suksha jnanascha, those who are absorbed in logic and disputing, hai tuka, and particularly those who are mimamsakas. Mimamsaka visheshena are excluded from tasting bhakti. Bhakti aswada bhayirmukha. This verse elaborates on the ignorant persons previously mentioned. Agya. The Agya are now elaborated in detail, who are not qualified for understanding rasa. The Gramya are like animals. The Agya is, Pragya is those who are knowers of rasa. The Agya are those who don't know rasa, and there are these 5 categories. Falgu Vairagya means those practicing renunciation with indifference to bhakti. So this Falgu Vairagya, they practice deep renunciation. Suksha Jana means those practicing knowledge which is indifferent to bhakti. So in Falgu Vairagya, there is a lot of practice of renunciation. In Suksha Jana, they are practicing a lot of knowledge. They are also indifferent to bhakti. Hatukaha refers to those who are absorbed only in logic. Just logical arguments, this is not Shastra Yukti. This is just, mental speculation, you can say. Mimamsaka refers to those who are absorbed in Purva Mimamsa karma, or some of those involved in Uttar Mimamsa who insist that duality is illusionary. So in the Uttar Mimamsa, there are the Maya, there are the Advaitvadis, because Advaitvada also is Vedanta. Within Vedanta, the Uttar Mimamsa, within the Vedanta, there are 2 divisions, broad divisions. One is the impersonalist and the personalist. And then the impersonalist is the Advaitvad. Within the personalist are the 4, sampradayas. And one extreme is Dvaita, Shuddha Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita, and Dvaita Dvaita. Shuddha Dvaita Dvaita. So within the Uttar Mimamsa also, those are Advaitvadis. Note, some followers of Vedanta are Vaishnavas. They are not included among those condemned Mimamsas. The Uttar Mimamsas, some who are Vaishnavas, Vedantas, they are not condemned. Those mentioned later in the list are more thoroughly excluded from tasting bhakti. So as they are later in the list, they are more excluded from tasting bhakti. Some of the logicians who have studied with zeal subjects like poetic techniques will be able to understand a little about rasa in a general way. General way they can understand. Like those who do PhD, we have, we know that those who do PhD and all, and they are not connected to the Guru Shish Parampara, they might little bit understand. That's what the point is being made. Yeah. Thus, they are placed before the Mimamsakas. So they are placed before the Mimamsakas. They are placed before the Mimamsakas, those absorbed in logic. So the gradation is there with Falgu, Vairagya, Shuksha, Haituka, Mimamsakas. Those who are called materialistic grammar in verse 20 are equated with the false renunciates. Vairagya, Nirdagda. They are equated. The dried up Gyanis, the logicians, the Mimamsaka are equated to ignorant, since they are mistaken knowledge about rasa. So that's how it is being spoken. Now, Ittesha bhakti rasaikas chaurad iva mahanidhi jaran mimam sakad rakshya Krishna bhakti rasa sada. Just as one, Ittesha very carefully protects Raksha, a great treasure, Iva Mahanidhi from thief, Chaurad. The devotees protect Bhakti Ras. Bhakti Rasakas from the withered Mimamsaka, Charan Mimamsakad, since they are totally unqualified for relation Bhakti. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Sada. It's a very, very interesting. Very, very interesting explanation. Very, very interesting. I'll just get back. So there is a beautiful verse also in the beginning of the work only, how the Mimamsakas are excluded from understanding this subject, this Granth Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu only. Anyone knows where it is mentioned? Anyone knows? Any idea? Anyone has? Where it is mentioned? Right in the beginning of the work in the Eastern Division itself, Rupa Goswami makes that point. Anyone knows where Rupa Goswami narrates this? Any idea? Anyone has? Sudhanshu Prabhu. Yes, Sudhanshu Prabhuji.
So yeah, I'm trying just because there's a lot of time. So is it that at the time where Goswami is starting work, verses says that I am writing, but let me be safe from the volcano. Some example given volcanoes in the water, in the sea, ocean, some like that. Some.
Yes, 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 yes. Correct, correct. I'm looking for that verse. Just a minute. Let me find out that verse. Yeah, let me get the verse and show it to you all because that's one of the best, very beautiful verse it is. Yeah. Um, yes. Yes, I found it. So I'm just sharing that with you in the screen. Yes. This is मीमांसक वडाभाग्ने कटिदामपि कूटयन्नसो जिह्वां स्फुरतो सनातं सुचिरं तव रसामृताम्बुधि. O Sanatan, may your ocean of bhakti ras, tava bhakti rasamrita ambudhi remain for a long time. Spurito suchiram, restricting the harsh arguments. Katinam api kuntayan of the proponents of karma and gyan, mamsaka, just as the ocean restricts the flame, jivam, of the Vadaba fire, Vadaba Agni. So, these mimamsakas cannot enter into the ocean of bhakti rasa. So, this is a very beautiful, so they don't have adhikar for it, was mentioned by Rupa Goswami. Now, here also, he is making the point here. He's also making the same point here. Since all the mimamsakas are particularly devoid of tasting bhakti, indicated by the word iti, Krishna Bhakti Ras is especially hidden from them. This verse also means that by to varying degrees, Bhakti Ras is also hidden by the devotees from the false renunciates, the dried up gyanis and logicians. Those persons are compared to thieves in order to indicate that they are excluded from bhakti ras, just as one avoids thieves, and not to indicate that they have greed for stealing bhakti ras. So it just like one avoids thieves, it's not that they have greed for stealing bhakti ras. Instead of chaurad iva from thieves, sometimes vahaner iva from fire is seen. So vahana iva is given in that verse which just now I quoted. Okay. Prabhupada, Srila Rupa Goswami mourns in this connection for persons who are in the fire of false renunciation and dry speculative habit and who neglect devotional service. Persons who are attached to the ritualist ceremonies recommended in the Vedas and to the impersonal Brahman cannot relish the transcendental pleasure of devotional service. So Prabhupada has included all, the Falgu Vairagya, the Shuksha Gyanis, and then, he has included the Karma Mimamsakas and the Uttar Mimamsakas also. Rupa Goswami advised, therefore, that devotees who have already tasted the nectar of devotion to be very careful to protect devotional service from such dry speculators, formal ritualistic elevationist, and impersonal salvinist. Devotees should protect their variable jewel of spiritual love from the clutches of thieves and bulgars. In other words, the pure devotee should not describe devotional service and its different analytical aspects to dry speculators and false renouncers. Okay. Next verse. Sarvata eva duhuro yam abhakter bhagavat rasah tad padambuja sarveshwar bhaktir evanurasyate. Rasa directed to the Lord. Bhagavad Rasa is very difficult to understand. Sarvata eva duhuro, for those with no devotion. I am a bhakter, those who have dedicated themselves Sarveswar Bhakter to the lotus feet of Bhagavan, Tat Padambuja can taste Bhakti Ras. Eva no Rasyate. Now, who can taste Bhakti Ras? Here it is given. Bhakti Ras can be tasted by Bhavya and Bhavaka Bhaktas and not by the previously mentioned knowers of Rasa who have no taste. Pragyas. Those who are not devotees can never achieve the benefits of devotional service. For them, the subject of devotional service is very difficult to understand. Only persons who have dedicated their lives unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality Godhead can relish the real nectar of devotion. Okay, so now this is the last part. In 2 or 3 verses, Rupa Goswami will speak with the difference between bhava and rasa. व्यतीत्य भावानां वर्त्म यश्चमत्कारकारभू हृद् सत्उज्ज्वले बाध्यं स्वदते सरसोमता. That which becomes even more intensely relished in the heart, made bright with ladini and samvit shaktis. Ridhi sattva ujjala bhadyam swadate. Attainment of bhava, after surpassing the stage of distinguishing the constituent bhavas, Vyatita bhavanam varta, yes, and which becomes more astonishing in bliss than bhava. Chamatkara karabhu is called rasa. Beautiful definition of rasa. So the point here is that in the stages of actually Raganuga sadhana, where the Ladini Shakti and the Samvik Shakti fully has not entered the heart, there is these constituents which, for us, Krishna's deities cause bliss, happiness, even for the beginner devotees, what to speak of those who are in Raganuga sadhana. And they are able to distinguish these components, and all this, they are bhavas, but when the Ladini and Shambhik enters the heart, then that gives rise to rasa, astonishing bliss. There is bliss also before that also, but there is astonishing bliss, in rasa, The difference between bhava, Sthāyi bhav, and rasa is now being described in 2 verses. Though they are the same in one sense, still, since they exist as cause and effect, Sattva here refers to Sattva, Shuddha Sattva, Vishesh, previously described as the cause of Bhava. The cause of Bhava is Shuddha Sattva, Visheshatva. The difference is like between samadhi, realization, and dhyan, meditation, by which one achieves realization. So the difference between bhava and rasa is what? Dhyan and samadhi. Dhyan and samadhi. Okay. Bhavanaya padeyastu budhenananya buddhina bhavyate gad samskares chitte bhava sakatyate. That which the wise person, yes, buddhina, who has dedicated his intelligence only to the Lord, bhavanaya pade tu buddhenananya, experiences in the heart, chitte, which realizes vibhav and other elements as separate entities, bhavyate, through deep impressions of previous bhakti. Gad samskares is called bhava. Bhava sa katyate. So what was previously defined was what is rasa, and what is now being described as bhava. Definition of bhava. First, a person attains bhava by vibhav and other elements manifesting. Then the swarup of bhava appears. Then by those vibhavas and other elements, rasa appears. This is the order. Two verses describe the difference between rati and rasa by describing their particular natures. If you don't understand these deep technicalities, not to worry. But one simple definition which Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives in his works is that the difference between bhava and rasa is that the bhava, the Sthāyi bhav, along with the components, samagri bhavs, vibhav, anubhav, satviki bhav, sanchari bhav, give rise to rasa. You know? So the person has to attain bhava with vibhava, and then sarupa of the bhava appears, and vibhava and other elements, rasa appears. So that's what is being also described here. That which surpasses the stage of distinguishing vibhav, vichari bhavs, and other elements and attains astonishing taste is called rasa. I was explaining how when the mango and the jaggery and the lychee, they are separate components, and then they mix, they become one, and that is mango ras, you know. And the mango ras you relish. But still, the distinction in subtle forms remains. Oh, you are able to taste the elaichi, the jaggery, but the jaggery has become with the juice. But still, the distinction is there. But it is rasa now. That's the point. What is the nature of that rasa? It produces more amazement than rati. So that is, there is taste in tasting just mango, but mango with, jaggery and elaichi has a deeper taste. That's the point. So Vishwanath Chakra Thakur on this. Bhava or rati is experienced in the heart, which ascertains bhavanaya pade chitte, the vibhavs, vibhichari bhavs, and other elements. At the time of directly realizing rasa, however, there is no awareness of vibhav, vibhichari bhavs, and other elements as separate entities. So there is no realization. I mentioned when you are tasting the mango ras, you are relishing rasa. There is no. However, at the time of realizing rati, there is awareness of vibhavs and other elements as separate entities. It should be understood that the difference between rasa and rati is in the depth of relishing the rasa. So in the depth of relishing the rasa, there is this, it is there, the difference. Srila Prabhupada on this. This is the last part. When one transcends the status of ecstatic love and thus becomes situated on the highest platform of pure goodness, one is understood to have cleansed the heart of all material contamination. So what stage this is being mentioned? Prabhupada is defining what here? Anyone? Let us see. How many of you clearly understood this? What is Prabhupada defining here? Whether bhava or rasa? Let us see at least. Anyone? Chakra Rama Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it's Bhava.
Yes, excellent. It is bhava, Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. In the pure stage of life, one can taste this nectar, and this tasting capacity technically called rasa or technical transcendental mood. So now rasa proper defines. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta summary study on the second division of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the matter of general devotional service. Now Prabhupada ends here, but offering to, there is a last verse of Rupa Goswami, offering to Srila Sanatana Goswami. Gopal Rupa Shobham Dhadyatapi Raghunatha Bhava Vistari Tushyate Sanatanatma Dakshine Vibhage Sudam Budhinide. May the eternal person, Sanatanatma, who manifested Tadyatapi, the beautiful form of a cowherd boy, Gopala Rupa Shobham, and distributed his bhavas to the form of Ram as well, Raghunatha Bhava Vistari, be pleased, Tushyate, with the southern section of the ocean of nectar, Dakshina Vibhage Sudam Budhe Nidhi. Purport, Jiva Goswami. May Sanatana Goswami, nourisher of the glory of Gopala Bhatta Goswami and Rupa Goswami, the distributor of Prema of Raghunath Das Goswami, be pleased with the southern section of the nectar of ocean. So Prabhupada, Jiva Goswami takes Sanatana Atma. Sanatana Atma is here Krishna, who manifested the cowherd boy form, and he distributed his rasas to even the Lord Ram, But here, another explanation is given is that may Sanatana Goswami, nourisher of glory of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Rupa Goswami. So that is here, Gopala and Rup Shobham, Gopal Rup Shobham. And then the distributor of Prema of Raghunath Das Goswami. That is, Raghunatha Bhava Vistari. So Raghunatha refers to Lord Ram also and Raghunath Das Goswami. Actually, Rupa Goswami wrote these works for the pleasure of Raghunath Das Goswami. Because Raghunath Das Goswami is the Prayojan Acharya. And he is able to understand the deep sentiments and the emotions and experience them and relish them. That's why when Rupa Goswami used to do his works, although Jiva Goswami used to edit, or Sanatana Goswami used to sometimes, he used to explain these works, and Sanatana Goswami definitely used to relish it, but it is Raghunath Das Goswami used to experience these mellows, and it is through Raghunath Das Goswami these Bhava Vistarini has happened, Distributor of Prema of Raghunath Das Goswami, be pleased with this southern section of the ocean of nectar. So, thus ends the fifth wave concerning Sthāyi Bhav in the southern section of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Here ends the southern section. So, that completes the discussion. So, any questions you have up till now, which we have discussed? Any questions, any clarifications? Okay, Sudhanshu Prabhuji has a question. Yes.
Oh, this one, I think second last was in that.
Can you
I think
speak a
Prabhupada
little
says.
loudly, please? Can you speak a little more clearly in the mic?
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, better.
Oh, is that the second last verse in which this difference between
Bhava and
rasa and
rasa.
bhava is described? I think Prabhupada explains that it is rasa because in next line Prabhupada is saying that it is rasa. That is rasa. Can you little bit more explain about this, Prabhu? Because little confusion I have.
No. See, you have to very clearly understand when you attain the Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma platform, it is bhava, the Sthāyi bhava. But Sthāyi bhava will combine with vibhav, anubhav, satvike bhav, sanchari bhavs and give rise to rasa. So Prabhupada is giving a very general explanation, and this is also perfectly right. And the explanation or the definition of Rupa Goswami, is very deep. Bhava, what is bhava and what is rasa,
So shall we take it the bhava where it is written rasa?
Pardon?
Shall we understand it as a bhava where it is written rasa in that commentary too?
Prabhupada's? No, no, no. Prabhupada's is correct. It's perfect.
How to understand to that point?
How to understand it? It's very clear. See, firstly, you have to understand, although you are cultivating in Ragananga sadhana, you're following a particular eternal associate, but still you have not really realized your Sarupa, but you're relishing that bhakti, following the eternal associates. That's what is Raganuga sadhana. And at bhava stage, the Sthāyi bhav is revealed. That means, your permanent emotion. But now, the vibhav in the form of ashray, vishaya alamban, Krishna is revealed. That is the vibhav. And then related to the vibhav, the uddipans and all these components together, give rise to rasa. So the first thing is that you have to be on the Shuddha Sattva Vishesh Atma platform. So that is Bhava Bhakti. And that Bhava is Sthāyi Bhava. So this is the definition of Sthāyi Bhava or Bhava.
Yes.
And then Bhava, and the Prabhupada is just mentioning it as pure stage of life. There is Rasa. So that is what. And then there is Dasya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa. That permanent mood is there. That's what he is explaining.
Oh.
Okay. Sunita Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I have a question that
Yes.
those devotees who are relishing the rasas with the Lord, are they the eternal associates of the Lord?
Yes, they are eternal associates of the Lord who are relishing. And that's why that distinction was made between the Bhavya Bhaktas and the Bhavaka Bhaktas. The Bhavya Bhaktas are those who are experiencing rasa. And the Bhavaka Bhaktas are those who are on the stage of Bhava, who are experiencing the stage of Bhava. So there is a difference, subtle difference between the two. Now, okay, I'll give you an example to understand. A very elevated devotee who is, relishing Bhagavatam, when he's narrating the pastimes, maybe in his heart he's seeing this whole movie being played and he's relishing the rasa, but he's not actually a participant in that pastime. The participants in that pastime, they are relishing rasa with Krishna. So that is on a different platform. The devotee who's narrating also, the elevated devotee is narrating, he's also experiencing rasa, but that is on a different platform. So that's the subtle difference between the two. I hope you got the point.
I have got the point, but when we see that the devotee is involved in the Leela, like Prabhupada, that is on a higher level, and
Yes, definitely that's on a higher level.
and there are some devotees also who relish these rasas. So can we say that they are also eternal? Not like, but
They are performed sadhana and attained sadhana siddha. They attained the sadhana siddha stage. From sadhana siddha, when they leave this world, the material body which is made of Panch Mahabhut, and they enter into Krishna Gila, the sadhana siddha will become nitya siddha. And they, are not only experiencing these rasa, they are actually, they are into Krishna Lila and directly experiencing the rasas. Then later on, the sadhana siddha will become nitya siddha. This was discussed, if you remember, in Vibhava. The sadhana siddha will become nitya siddha. You have to understand that clearly. Is it clear or no still?
yes.
Huh? Does that
Thank you
make
so much.
sense, or still you have?
It is making sense, but I'm trying to understand still that those who are they are eternal associates of the Lord, and after they go to the Dhama, they are going to be the Nitya Siddhas.
Correct. Yes, the sadhana siddha ultimately become nitya siddha when they go back to the spiritual world.
And are these devotees the same who have realized their form in their name and all the other 11 qualities?
Mhm. Can you repeat the question more clearly?
Are these devotees the same? Those who have understood their name, their dress, their house, and their relation?
With Krishna, what are these
Yes.
devotees? What?
Nitya Siddhas.
No, they are not yet Nitya-siddhas. They are by
They will.
sadhana, they have attained Siddhi.
Okay.
Okay. And although their Swarupa might be revealed, but they are still not, they are experiencing rasa, but it is quite different from experiencing rasa actually being a participant in the Krishna Leela.
Okay.
It is different. It is different. So there, like, Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti in his work Madhurya Kadamni mentions that in prema there are higher levels. There is mana, pranaya, raga, anuraga, bhava. There is also bhava there. Then mahabhava. He says these emotions cannot be experienced by even a siddha. They cannot be experienced even by a siddha because the body cannot handle that ecstasy. So only a completely spiritual body can handle it. So that's why these are only experienced in the Nitya Siddhas. So the Sadhana Siddhas, when they become Nitya Siddhas and participate in Krishna Lila, so they are experiencing these rasas. So I just wanted to share, and yeah, here is that chart. Yes. So here you can see that, ultimately Siddhas, the Prema Bhaktas are there. There are the Nitya Siddhas and there are Samprapti Siddha, in which there are Sadhana Siddha and the Kripa Siddha. So they also attain perfection to sadhana and attain to perfection through mercy. And ultimately, these are also relishing rasa, but when they go and become eternal associates of the Lord in the spiritual world, then they are experiencing directly rasa in Krishna Lila. So that's the point I wanted to make. I hope it is clear now.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Vimoji. Hare
Any other
Krishna.
questions? Anyone else has? Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Veer Krishna Prabhuji. Yes. Yes, Veer Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dhanratna.
Yes.
Prabhu, there was mention of Sanchari Rati and Bhavollas Rati with regard
Yeah,
to
that's a little
degree of prema to Radharani.
correct, correct. Tell me.
So, Prabhu, I was just thinking how it is, how we can relate with Sanchari Bhava or Vyavachari Bhava. It was said no, that it is to be seen in that context.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's quite technical um, because you have to understand two things. There is Rati, the Vishaya Alamban is always Krishna. And the Uddipans are related to the Vishaya. And the Ashraya Alamban is the devotee who has attraction for Krishna. But the devotee has attraction for, Radha or any other ideal devotee, and that devotee has attraction for Krishna. So there, these subtleties are not discussed here in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. They will come up in a very higher work. So I cannot comment on that, but I just gave you the technical difference. I gave that standard example, of a spiritual master. You are attracted to the spiritual master, and of course the spiritual master is manifesting and representing Prabhupada. You have also attraction for Prabhupada, but sometimes your attraction for Prabhupada might be more and spiritual master might be less, or it can be more towards the spiritual master and a little less to Prabhupada, or it can be equal to both. So that is what we can at right now understand it. But these higher, finer aspects, are discussed in more other works, higher works, which neither we have access to them now, nor we have adhikar for that. I can say that for now, at least. But that is what that sanchari means, it's that bhava, gets transmitted to a high degree, just like, the wave, that wave of Sthāyi bhav which is there towards Krishna, seeing that devotee, you know, goes to one height. And I'll give you an example just for in our experience to understand it, that we have devotion to spiritual master. We are worshipping him through Guru, every day in our home, or uh, to our spiritual master. But when the spiritual master arrives, there is a kind of a wave in our devotion, which is like a sanchari. I hope you are getting that, na?
Yes, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you,
Vinita
bro. Thank you.
Mataji. Yeah, Viniti Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Mm.
Prabhuji, verse number uh, 2.5.131, 131.
131. You're going back to the syllabus somewhere. 131.
Just three shloka, three levels, three verses.
25, 131.
Yeah, 2.5.131.
Oh, 131 is just today only we discussed.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I thought it is somewhere some previous classes. Oh, 1 minute. Let me go to that. 131. 131. Yes. Yes, Mataji, I'm
Yeah.
sharing the screen.
Yes.
Okay, what's your question?
My question is regarding Jiva Goswami's commentary. I want to understand this. Bhakti rasa can be tasted by bhavyas and bhavaka devotees. And the last part, the prajnas.
No, Bhakti Rasa can be tasted by the Bhavya and the Bhavaka deities and not by the previously mentioned knowers of Rasa who have no taste, Pragyas. Yeah, what's the question regarding this?
I want to understand the role of these pragyas.
Previously mentioned knowers of Rasa who have no taste, Pragya. So they are the categories which Rupa Goswami has mentioned. Huh?
That is in 123.
123. Pragya. There is okay, I got it. I'm just trying to little more whether the pragya also refers to these mimamsakas, the shushgyanis, and previously refers to this, or it is 123 is what is my doubt. So let me go through and get back to you about this, Mataji.
No problem,
I will
Prabhuji.
answer this in the group.
Yes, because I understood that intellectually we know about rasa, but we have not tasted it.
Yes. That's true. I thought about it already. That we are not into rasa, but even as there is even a new bhakta who joins. He has attraction for deities. He has attraction for Krishna Katha. It's not rati, but it is just a abhas.
Abhas, yes.
But there is attraction, and maybe he's not having the understanding of he's not a rasagya. The knowledge of science of rasa is not there in him. But yes, we have not tasted rasa. We have been, but we are relishing the Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So whether it is following in that category, what Rupa Goswami is saying, or it is speaking about the pragya, who are these three kinds, the mimamsakas and all, who cannot taste. Because devotees, what to speak, a madhyamadikari, even the kanishtas are tasting some kind of mellow and relish in bhakti. And that's why salpa ruchi revasyat bhakti tattva bodhita. That is the adhikar for practicing bhakti. So little taste we have. That's why we are still holding on to this practice of bhakti. So whether it is referring to the two, that requires a little clarification. I will just also speak to my higher authorities and get a clarification, and then I'll answer back. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank
Okay.
you. It's been wonderful being with you.
श्री भक्ति रसामृत सिंधु की जय, श्रील रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा.